Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
This is 4K! How did they get you at 4K?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Caught in 4K. This is our 6th episode and we are really grateful and happy that you're here with us. Thank you so much for all those who have subscribed, who are watching our shows, our episodes. Thank you. We want to say we truly appreciate. And on today's episode, I am really happy and glad to be joined by our special guest, Jonny Isaya.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jonny Isaya. I sing for food. Yeah.
Mbona zako umecheka?
Ati?
Msanii.
Sani asimbe ndugu yangu.
Hafai kuimba kule.
Kwa kasio rahisi manzi. Kwa kasio rahisi.
Nikitaja mbona nimecheka.
Ati.
Nakuwa nimechoma.
Mtaki atoke kwa blog.
Nakuwa nimechoma. So wacha tutulie. Ona ile dunia small girl big girl. Reverse the
Small boy, big God.
Small boy big god.
Okay.
But thank you for having me.
We are really happy. Before we start our episode, we'd really like to hard launch. Is it hard launch? Announce that we are now having a new manager, and our manager is here with us. We have signed a contract with Stephanie. She is our new manager from today, henceforth, till further notice. I'd like her to introduce herself. Introduce Manzi.
So hi guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
February mazi.
Si tulianza mwaka.
Tutasema hadi April.
Tuliwasha fireworks tena.
Tukiwasha fireworks tena.
So my name is Stephanie. Happy to be here. Happy to be part of this amazing team. And now my journey will be amazing.
Ongea kama manager. Short, sweet, to the point.
Straight.
Stefan anakuwa so feminine na voice anaongea pole pole so
calm.
na kukombanisha sauti ya pole. Ndio nimefanya makosa ama nikatia.
Lakini ni mkali. Sio ni mkali.
Sana. She's very
Strict.
Yeah, I think that's why she wants.
Stand on business. So, for today's episode, we will talk about toxic parenting. Heavy.
Parents.
It's heavy. Oh, parents. Toxic. Wacha tuseme parenting. Hakuna mwenye ni parent hapa.
Tunasema nani ni kama idea. Yeah, this topic.
Oh yeah.
Because mimi nataka put on blast. At least it never came from us.
Yeah. Ni nani?
Our actual guest actually came.
I sing for food.
I sing for food.
I sing for
Just
food.
food singer.
Food singer.
Food
Food
singer.
singer.
Like tunaponda like what are we going to talk about next time? Like I have an idea. Toxic parents like really struck on good.
Yeah. That's a very sensitive but real topic, and it's something we should address considering that sisi ndio the next. Nyinyi ndio the next.
The next generation of parents.
Yeah, the next generation of parents.
Mwanzo sisi tutangoja.
Ndio nasema nyinyi
Nini ni kina?
nyinyi.
Mama siruke mimi.
Uliona ni kipi?
Kwanza
Siruke
baby
mimi.
shower, gender reveal yao ni
Tunangoja sana.
Slander.
Tunangoja sana.
Slander.
Gender reveal. Hata si ulikuwa umeambia Jonny hata hivyo.
Slander.
Mpaka ukasema Stephen wataleta sound.
Anaanza kuturuka saa hizi.
Sasa unafaa tukapiga ma quotation mingi alafu atakule.
On a public platform.
On a public
platform. My potential baby is watching this shit na sasa anaanza kunikansel. Anaanza kunikansel.
Don't let.
Please clarify.
They're just roommates. They're just roommates. Hata ni huyo mtoto tu. Si ndio? Akoje hapo juu ya mtoto. Uko na uchungu moyoni.
What Isaya ndo anza. Tuambie.
Yeye ndo alisa.
Yeye ilikuwa yake.
So okay, so toxic parenting I would say is parenting that is toxic.
Makofi. Hiyo ni Kiingereza tupu.
Thank you.
I'm not a musician.
So we find in many homes parents which I think they do feel entitled to dictate the lives of their kids, you know, kama mbegu. Kama mbegu yangu lazima ufanye vile nataka. Vile nikupangia maisha, hivyo ndo utafuata. So that's what I would describe as toxic parenting, because human beings, we have free will, so I think it's quite impossible.
Wouldn't you describe it as if just this parent setting boundaries in his home or her home? Yeah.
Well, I've experienced, personally and with stories, I've experienced people who are old enough to move out of home and they're still being dictated. Unajua, back in the day, inaweza make sense kama mzazi anaweza kuwa dictator hadi ufike 18, hapo akufukuze, ufigure out life. You know, it makes sense. But sasa, uko 29, 30, na bado mzazi anakuambia sasa, to the point where, because I was talking to someone in Juzi, I was telling them how I would describe mama's boy, because I used to associate with that term, but then she gave me a different definition. She told me, Mimi, I've dated people who, when you go on a date, you have to get consent from the mom, from the guy's mom. Lazima.
What?
And when you start living together, the mother often visits, sleeps there, you know. Yani, mnasi ati tafadhali, it's hivyo ndo iko, full stop. The guy has to obey the mother. So that's a bit toxic in my opinion.
That's not even a bit toxic.
Could it be saying something about the guy per se? Because if you're having a relationship with a chick, you're supposed to have some level of backbone coming on. This is my relationship with this particular person.
Well, I think blame moms. Okay, not blame moms, but let's say blame. You know, because there needs to be boundaries. It doesn't have to be with relationships peke yake. Hata life, unajua ukikuwa adult, lazima upange maisha yako. Sasa umefika point yenye ni wewe kusema vile maisha yako inafaa kuwa. So if your parent you know, gets you, of course now we live in a world of formal education huku Kenya. Umeingia primary, mzazi anataka akupeleka secondary, anataka ama high school, anataka ameenda university, anataka umefanya course yeye anataka, umemaliza course, umeingia kazi yenye yeye amekutafutia. Na feel kidogo unaweza kuwa kimwili adult lakini akili bado kidogo. Yani, you know, ni ngumu sana for such a person, such an individual to survive. Because the truth is, unfortunately, our parents will leave us at some point. And for such men and women, once that point in Africa, they over rely on whoever their partner will be at the time. So na feel inafaa kufika point as a parent, unasema sasa, from here, you need to figure your shit out and you sort yourself out now.
Do all of you share the same opinion with Isaya about what toxic parenting is?
Yeah, I agree with him because I feel like toxic parents are those parents who feel like they want to manipulate everything to align with what they believe or what they want. Kama sahi, I'm not gonna lie, most of our parents, truth be told, they fall under the toxic.
Yeah. I have a question.
Ask.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Na mtu asiogope kusema ukweli. Please let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Sawa. Na nataka kwanza na Steph.
Yes.
What is the most toxic thing your parent has ever done?
What? I just have to mention
just one. Yes, one. The most.
Wow.
You have a couple.
One. Just one.
Nice watch.
Just one.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Also, but
I think maybe just speak of incidences that you had, which you think are quite toxic. Because I think toxic parenting is when a parent deliberately frustrates someone because they are stubborn to understanding what this child wants or the direction this child wants to take.
But you know, at times they don't do it deliberately. They don't do it because they want. At times maybe any motherly instinct, amali.
Projection.
Yeah, they project.
So me, what if I agree parents are toxic?
No.
Not all parents are toxic, but they are.
Yeah.
I would say all parents are toxic.
Because when you mnaongea mnakali kama yani
Honestly, mimi naweza
mlikuwa mnapigwa mnalaumu kwa wazazi wenyu mnasema ni toxic. Yeah, because they're mnapigwa.
There's a big difference. Because discipline as a child and toxicity
it's
are two very different things.
unaonaje lakini weza.
Ati?
Unaonaje? Mimi na agree na wewe. Okay, sijui kama ulikuwa unasema ama unauliza.
Mimi nauliza lakini mimi nasema like mmejaribu kuangalia from this other perspective.
Mimi maybe naona ni kama all parents are toxic.
What if you are the one who has grown up and it's your pity party taking control over your emotions and you just labeled a name for the hurtful things then you know, but it does not mean that your parent was not right.
Well, I don't think, okay, when I say parents are toxic,
it does not mean your parent was not right because hata kama anakuambia naweza kuja nikwambie unakujaje hapa bila socks. Unaona? Una perceive kile nimekwambia mimi nimekwambia vibaya. Si ndio? Right? But maybe kusema ukweli ufai kuja hapa bila socks. You get? Nimekwambia ukweli? Nimekusaidia next time utakuja bila socks. Si ndio?
But does that really fall under toxicity?
No.
Exactly. And that's my point. My point is maybe you guys were being corrected
and thought it's toxic.
But
toxicity.
can't you say it in a calmer way? Can't you say, please, mbona umekuja bila socks? Next time kuja na socks.
I don't think the issue is saying, because the parent doesn't have to say it politely. Yeah. But kuna sometimes mtu anasema kitu, the parent says something and anaongeza something else within it that was completely out of pocket. And I chase hiyo kitu alikuwa anakwambia. Something that was completely out of pocket.
Yeah.
That you're wondering, for example, someone says
let me give you let me support you on nini. Wewe unauma na tumbo je hiyo simu. Wewe unakuja kuniambia unauma wewe ni mgonjwa ni je hiyo simu juu unaangalia hiyo simu sana.
So you see toxicity?
Well,
how is that toxicity?
That's kind of.
No, it's not. I'm just supporting his answer. His opinion.
I think the example that we've used is, for example, when let's say human beings are prone to making mistakes.
Yeah.
And our parents always want. It's always they expect you to live to some certain level of a certain standard that themselves cannot achieve. Yeah. So they want you to be so perfect. So let's say, for example, you come in. Do a mistake, unapata comment like when you mjinga aje. So that first line, how you twist, when you mjinga aje before you make your own comment on how you want to correct me, that is actually very toxic. Because as a child, this child then gets to internalize what this person again.
You can imagine your parent has been your hero all your life, and this person has come and called you stupid. Do you know that kind of solidarity? That's emotional abuse.
Yeah,
it is, and that's actually the definition of being toxic.
So I have a question here. So you guys would have preferred to be raised the American way. Like you've done a mistake, okay, you know, I'm sorry, Baba. So go back to your corner over there. Go and sit alone over there. Think about what you've done. Let me finish. That's how you guys would have loved to be raised, because according to me, I've seen. Let's just put it into context. Yeah? Unaona the Black Americans. See, that's how they're raised. But no, those niggas are like crazy. Yeah. Those people are crazy. Hautaambia mtu ati go back to your corner. You don't hit that. Me, I believe in corporal punishment. I will be very honest with you. I believe in corporal punishment. Ile ni mzazi wako akikupiga haimaanishi anakuchukia. Akikutetesha haimaanishi anakuchukia. And most of us will take that and use it as toxicity. While
but on that point, where do you draw the line on corporal punishment? Because we've had cases of children dying because of
Sasa,
we've had cases of mtu amekatwa kwa mzazi wake.
Sasa,
we have so many cases where do you draw the line? Okay, corporal punishment, I find kupita this point. And at what point are you going to supervise this parent? Ukimwambia usimpite kupita hapo hivi because yako peke yake.
So let me answer you. I'll put it in a different example, yeah? In South Africa, there are people who go to that country to do illegal stuff, right? Sindio, people from other different countries, wanaenda huko Nigeria, Kenyans, Ethiopians, wanaenda huko to do illegal stuff. But there are people who have migrated there to actually make an honest living out of themselves, sindio? Now, do you think it is right that the South African people wako zile like, we don't want any other African person to come into our country because of the mistakes of a few people? It's the same thing that you're saying, you ban something because of the mistakes of a few people. Kama watu kidogo like the 10% ama the 5% wanafanya makosa, haimaanishi ni kila mtu. Because hao watu, si kila mtu ako sane, kila mtu ako normal.
Sure.
Yes.
I feel like maybe lines go blurred between toxicity and discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline is okay.
Yes.
Discipline is good. In fact, the way Africans discipline their children, I would recommend that.
Exactly.
It's better to spoil the child's style, you know.
Let's not take that as toxicity.
Now, unfortunately, parents from their end, Yani, they fail to, because I got to a point when I experienced, I would say, toxicity from my folks. I nilikam kuelewa where they're coming from, because I think it's a result of, like she said, a lot of things. It's a projection, I think it's a love. It's a fear for real.
Take your opinions.
But that's the way they.
He has a point.
Yeah, it's a valid point, but thanks.
Yeah, but now you see that's the best way, because you know no one gets a kid and gets a manual with the kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
all kids
that's
are different,
true,
you know.
That's true.
So you figure a point and okay, me I think toxicity begins, because when you mentioned about drawing the line, where does toxicity begin?
Yeah.
I think toxicity inaanzaga pale mzazi unasahau this is an independent human
with its own brain.
Its own
Its own
brain.
brain,
And it can make its own decision.
Siezi control, like ina make mistakes, ina learn from mistakes, you know. So na feel kama mzazi inafaa ukuwe na hiyo in mind, especially akikuwa adult, go into adulthood, okay, teens of course, adolescents nini are going to adulthood. Akianza kuingia adulthood already amemake hizi mistakes za adult, amezimaliza, sasa unamwacha.
I have a question for you, sir. Don't you think it's more likely for a female child to label their parent as toxic rather than a male child?
Well, now there I agree.
I also
Top of my head, I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
Okay.
Because girls are more protected than boys, and girls fail to see the girls fail to see it as protection. You know, they feel like they are being jailed, or they feel like they're just being given boundaries, you know. Because okay, and me, I'm a very traditional human.
That's a very valid point. That's
That's exactly what I wanted him to say.
Meaning traditional.
Exactly.
Me who believe in, okay, and this is how it's going to sound weird. If you're my future wife, don't judge me. Me who believe in msichana awekwe akiwa tayari kuolewa. Of course, just don't attack me. Wekwe ukiwa tayari, acha niseme hiyo word, but ukiwa tayari, okay, kuolewa, then you're given freedom. And I'd back it up by saying that girls, I feel like girls, okay, it's generational, but I feel like girls, especially who are squeezing, are given too much freedom, and that is affecting everything because you see, a woman is the person who nurtures a home. You get that means the children where the product of home, it are dependent on that woman. That's just the fact of it, in my opinion. And so I would agree with his statement, because immediately parents begin setting up boundaries for girls, then they feel like but the truth also is women need more protection than men. That's the fact of life. Me, I know that as a fact. I have one sister, and when my parents walimtafutia kazi immediately after, yesi kushika feelings, catch feelings sana. But nikipata situation kama hiyo ya my bros, ati my bros wazazi wanaanza kumtafutia kazi nini, hapo takuwa like na mimi anataka kutafutia kazi.
Utapata with all that attention and care, ndio utapata the female is more likely kwa zile za like my parents are toxic and
No,
complain
I
about
really
everything.
disagree with you guys. I really disagree with you guys because how do we say this? Kuna balance everywhere. As much as yes, a girl is protected so much that it may anaweza feel kama kaziwa. A guy on the other hand, dude, a boy, is thrown into the world. No. And it's also not a safe space.
Yeah.
You figure out, because if I see how, let's say, my dad has raised his sons and his daughter in two very different ways. It's very easy. It's very easy for me.
It should be.
It should be.
Yeah, it should
It's
be. You agree
very
that it should be?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Interrupt, sir. Yes, I agree that it should be, but I'm saying I think it's in equal measure. You see, so if mimi nezangalia kama what actions my dad takes against me is toxic, but my mom's actions are loving. Meanwhile, my sister might be, hey, mom, anakuwa kind of toxic, yes, but dad is loving. No? Just because the parenting styles for these different children are different as well.
Yeah.
Now, are there places, because I want us to stick to the topic, are there instances where, as a guy, your parent can be toxic, and as a chick, your parent can be toxic? Yes.
Before we continue this conversation, I want to know, Zach, which born are you? First, second, third? Am I the only child?
No, me, my family is polygamous, so like tuko wengi baya.
Sasa when you are
It's a whole village.
Hata kama ni number 15.
Sema
It's
wewe
a whole
kama ngapi?
village.
Nasema.
Stay count by them.
Okay.
Lakini huko katikati.
Niko mahali tu hapo katikati.
Lakini si
Okay,
mwisho.
no, but growing up, how many were you guys in your home as children?
I think all of us are almost 20.
Huko
In
katikati,
one house.
But you're not the last
As in
one.
growing up when you
No.
you were being
You're not
raised
the
together.
I'm not the last
and you're
one.
not the first
I
one.
think I'm around 15 now.
Yeah, when you made a child.
Now you see, either way, actually you bring this dynamic here, how many kids are in a house. There are very different challenges for what a firstborn child is going to have.
Yeah.
A lastborn child is going to have.
And the
na
middle
mtu wa
child.
katikati. Mtu wa katikati kwanza anakuwa ignored most of the time. Like it's almost as if they don't exist.
Amen.
Hey,
Preach,
wow,
man.
okay.
See, the firstborn child on the other hand has so much pressure
Yeah.
and expectations put on their heads.
Unnecessary
It's so
pressure.
unrealistic. No. Meanwhile, the lastborn, like, watu wa mbele yake wame fuck up as much as possible, but they're still a child in their parents' eyes, so they never want to bring it to grow up. You see?
I agree. So then, maybe toxicity is a result of that. Maybe there should be like a manual for parenting, like a proper
No.
manual.
In my honest opinion, I feel like our parents, the way they were raised with so much pressure. The world is changing, you're supposed to behave in a certain way, you're supposed to do this and this and this and this and this. But then as time goes, they don't realize that hizo masiku zimepita.
But you know, when you say that, kuna kitu Zach mention about like culture ya the West, ya vile watoto wamewachishwa.
Yeah.
I feel we are moving into that, where, like I said, me I'm traditional. Me na prefer hiyo style ya Zach, ya mtoto ni wa jamii.
But sasa, you know, Jonny, it's inevitable. Hawezi sema mzimeni TV, hakuna kitu ya Amerika inaingia Kenya. You can't do that.
Not in that aspect.
but
No,
now-
okay, let me finish what I'm saying. You can't do that. The thing is, this thing is already there. We're living in a very different culture right
Different
now.
time.
Yeah, we're in a different time. Zamani ungeambia mtoto ukimaliza form 6 unaenda TSC. Unaingia Teachers College.
It doesn't matter whether you want to be a
Kama
chef.
unataka kuwa engineer, kama unataka kuwa pilot, kama unataka kuwa hostess, hiyo ni yako. But ukimaliza unaingia TSC. This time you can't say that. Utaambia mtu ukimaliza shule nataka uende ufanye computer science, anakuambia hapana, mimi nataka kuwa tattoo artist.
Hiyo ni vitu gani?
And there's nothing you can do about
Hiyo ni
it.
vitu gani?
I disagree, CJ.
Wewe mimi sijui kwenu kuna kaaje, but kwetu si tunakataa. Sisi if you tell okay, well, let me not even lie.
Okay, let me say how big my home is.
Yeah.
In my home is my parents were very hands-off. Eko kupenda kwao.
Which also falls under toxicity, right?
Yeah, but eko kupenda kwao walikuwa, let's say, walikuwa na hustle.
Walikuwa busy.
Yeah, so sisi tulireleziwa na nannies. Yes, household.
Maybe you should check your privilege.
But my parents, my parents are old. Like, they're mature. They're old guys, yeah. No, I'm the last born. And let me tell you the funny thing about me now. Like, me, I'm the third born, but I get pressure like a first born.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my parents expect that right now I should have been working, I should have been doing
ABCD.
Yeah, I should have been married.
Recently tumeambiwa tunaleta tutafanya koito lini.
I was like, whoa. Like simoni nilizaliwa tu juzi.
Hata kitokeja kuke
I'm
wazee.
still children.
Hey, what are you saying?
Ladies.
You know.
Hey.
So
But you see, I feel like okay. Na feel toxicity sasa imeanza kuwa pia relative.
Yeah, it's
Because
relative.
kuna
baby.
toxicity ya on your point kuna toxicity ya okay, wacha nikupe example ya me when I finished school, okay, when I finished high school, because I knew I wanted to do music when I was in high school. When I finished, I told my parents the same. And they're like, no, you got in good grades, you could do engineering, you could do so many things that make sense, not that. I was like, but that's what makes me happy, and that's what I really want to pursue. And they refused till the end. So of course, kikamka kuchagua course, nilikuwa peke yangu nikachagua music. You know, I sort of defied. Then they were like, so you made your choice, you go study music, we'll see what happens uko mbele. So I finished campus. They were like, okay, so now what? I told them I want to go to Nairobi and become msanii sasa. Nataka kuanza msanii. Eh. Wakaniambia sasa.
Ameamua.
Wakaniambia sasa hapo, no, the only thing you can do is teach music.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, because you're right, you can teach music. And I disagreed like most of us do in our generation. Nikasema tu honestly hapana, you know. And I feel like your continuous friction is what made me really establish myself, because deep down I think I wanted to prove to them that I actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But now there are situations where I feel like had they not resisted like that, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Because right now music is like my career, it's like my full-time job, you know. But na feel wangekubaliana na mimi, kuna vile pia ingekuwa toxic because
actually sasa umeenda kunafunza.
Sasa inafunza.
Sasa umeenda kunafunza. Right now you are a teacher.
But my terms.
Something that they had suggested like years ago before you even thought about it.
But now the problem was, the difference is they did not want me to teach the way I'm teaching. They wanted me to teach in schools, and they were basically walikuwa wanataka nikuwe mwalimu wa shule. You know, like I teach at Mumias Boys or something like that, unaona. Even though walikuwa wanataka. But mimi nilikuwa na bigger vision. Mimi nilikuwa like, I can start my own school. Why not try that instead? And that's why I'm heading towards. You get. So I feel kama hiyo resistance haingekuwa, na feel probably ningeslack kiasi.
Yeah, there's some positive aspect of the toxicity.
Yes.
Because to some extent unaanzanga ku realize that maybe this person alikuwa na the best interests.
Exactly, and that's what I was saying earlier. I think peer intention you kwa, because mimi najua kuna vitu mzee wangu ameongea na mimi about, you know, now about being a man. Ameniambia, usifanye. Niko like, you are free, okay? Working your days, you are free, because that's now him projecting onto me.
I really want us to get to that. Do you feel like our parents are toxic because of, say, failed marriages, such that they're projecting it onto us?
Not really failed marriages,
but project.
Okay, not really failed.
But I think frustrations from either the marriage, the job, business in the south, like a lot of issues. There's something exactly because I think it's Isaya who said this. Toxic parents or parenting is what is the word used?
Relative.
It's relative, yeah, and it actually is relative.
Yeah.
Because how I perceive toxicity is not the same way she does it.
Yeah.
Not the same way she does it. It's quite relative. But at the end of the day, it still is. For example, let's take an instance where what you want and what your parent wants do not align. Maybe it's because of a tip. You can imagine the time that we are. From the first time we had a Mac on a computer to right now, it's only been around 20 years.
Yeah.
Your parents grew up with none of that shit. And now they cannot even understand the digital space and how it works. Now, I want to be a vlogger. Hiyo ni vitu gani unasema? Unaona? Umevaa Vision Pro. What the fuck are you doing? You're wasting time. Have you this whole time when you're wearing this, you're gonna hold a song.
Ungekuwa 8 to 5 bana.
It's your 8 to 5. People are making money from their beds right now. Sasa wako wanakuja kule. Wewe people watu wanajenga nchi huko nje.
Unaamka saa 5.
Ajumekesha
ukimekesha
trading.
Exactly, things are working out for you, but according to them, there's nothing you're doing.
Yeah.
And they keep on telling you this, there's nothing you're doing, you're useless, unapoteza wakati hapa, just constantly putting you down. And whenever they do this, that is toxicity. And it comes from the fact that there's no understanding between you and the parent.
But now I'm starting to think it's actually a good thing. Because I feel like, okay, at least from my personal experience, without that pressure, it's very easy
to lose your way.
Yeah, Miss Raisi sana. Because, okay, and I'm speaking about situations where unaweza identify mzazi wako kama msemo mwenye genuinely ana care for your future, like si ako itu mtiaji. Of course, like anajali, what are you doing with your life? Like hizo maswali. And of course, parents are not pia, we don't choose our parents. Mzazi anaweza kuja kuite the worst of the worst names. Because me, I remember having that very heated argument with my folks, and they were not seeing what I'm trying to do. Ikafika point now they were seeing, now they're like, hey, kitu nyumbani nini, unaona. So I feel like intention ndo kila kitu. Like maybe toxicity is necessary.
I have a different aspect to say. You see, like for his journey, he had to get to somewhere where he explained it to his parents. Mpaka his parents got to a point whereby akaelewa. Sindio? Now, there are people who don't explain to their parents. There are people who are like, mi nafanya online trading, and that's all I do. Your parent does not understand online trading. Anajaribu kuchanga hizi nini unafanya. Now, please let us also consider there are things that our parents also tried and failed in their youth ages. Sindio? Jamani.
Maybe wameanza
Ama tukurekodie usisikie kitu nilisema. Tuliwind. So, nasema like you see the things that they tried and failed. Sindio? Maybe kuna mwenye alijaribu kuwa msanii, maybe kuna mtu alijaribu kuwa mwanabiashara, maybe kuna mtu alijaribu all sorts of different stuff that were available to them back in the day, but they failed. Sindio? Now you as a person, imagine wewe, don't even go to your child, go to your little brother or your little sister. Have you seen how the older sisters are usually very, very careful with their younger sisters?
Yeah.
Have you seen how that relationship usually is? Yeah? Unaona relationship unakoga like, I don't want my little sister to repeat my same mistakes. Kenye mingi pitia yasipitie.
Which I think is the same relationship every older sibling has
with their so like put it in with that aspect, it relates na parent. Unaona? Because there are some things zenye pia walijaribu wakakwa zile za like hapa nimejaribu nikafeli, nikajaribu. Siwezi taka mtu wangu pia jaribu hiyo. So hiki kitu yenye nimejaribu hii kwanza. Ini kitu ya 1 month, 2 months alafu amechoka nayo ama atakuwa na consistency ya kuback it up. So I don't know how consistent you're going to be. I don't know if you're going to just waste time. Ama kitu kuna future. But niko sure ukienda in this direction kuna future yenye niko sure nayo. No. In this one niko sure nayo, but here unafuata, yes, you want to be a good footballer, right? You're good at football, but are you really like consistent in it? Are you passionate about it? Are you like wholeheartedly into it? Ama ni kitu utafika mahali useme dad better hiyo ball nimeacha. Mimi nataka kuingia ni kwa rap.
But not everyone is the same. Huwezi sema like for you Jonny, that's worked for you. Some other people wanataka words of encouragement. Maybe akianza kufanya hiyo trading, uanze kumwambia it's okay, just do what you're doing. Hata ikifail it's okay. Maybe this person anataka hizo words of encouragement. Okay, this I'm speaking personally as a firstborn. Mimi naweza taka words of encouragement. Ile ni unafanya atujui kama itawaka, atujui kama itakusaidia, but just keep on doing it. If it fails, it's okay, we'll back up, we'll help you wherever you are. But ile inafika point unaanza kuniambia ati sasa unafanya trading, wewe kazi yako ni kulala mpaka 3 am, sisters wako wanakuona nini. Kwanza hiyo statement ya what are you showing your siblings? What are you showing your siblings? Mimi sijai experience 8th of February ever, 2024 ever before. This is a learning experience for me as well. So why should I have the pressure wewe kama firstborn unafaa kuwa sijui umefanya hii na hii. It's okay, I understand, I'm the firstborn, I'll beacon to my sibling, but don't put the pressure on me. Don't put the pressure on my younger brother
to look up to you.
Yeah.
I think also supporting that. Okay, but toxic parenting doesn't necessarily come also in the relationship they have with their children. It can be the relationship they have with their spouse. Like the way your dad treats your mom, the way your mom treats your dad, affects you very negatively. It impacts you very negatively. And it's so toxic to you. Or for example, umeka kwa nyumba, you have a parent anakuanga so psycho, sort of pocket all the time. Umefanya kila kitu kwa nyumba, kitu ulisahau ni kikombe kwa stima. Na umeenda ukalala, ameingia leo usiku kwa wewe Shalini,
kwa nyumba, mimi nafanya kila kitu.
I thought they sort out kila kitu. Like I just want to have peace, but they do this all the time. They always look for mistakes all the time.
To support what you said about what they to their spouse, maybe the parents anafikanga home anaanza kupigia mamako kelele, ama the mom anaanza kupigia the dad kelele.
It gets violent.
It gets violent. It gets wordy. This affects the kids in the long run, because unaanza kupata the child anaogopa relationships.
And not only that, you see how like men going up, they go and beat up their wives.
Yeah.
You saw it from somewhere.
Like
seeing your father beat up your mother, you're like, okay, so this is normal. So
even unaweka baby.
So even don't end up lazima nende chape. Like those things like
They do. And actually when this femicide thing was happening, bazen nilika chini kajiuliza, I wonder if there's anyone in my generation when you experience like gender-based violence, like live. I honestly don't think there's anyone when you experience in our in the homes or hata kwa jirani, like na feel hakuna mse haja experience at least like once or twice in their lifetime.
Okay, you can't lump everyone in.
Honestly, I don't.
We're saying this in this generation.
In this generation,
maybe not.
Okay, maybe not. I think that's relative. Not wanaishi kwa
quite crucial.
I think someone has ever told me ati hajaisikia parents wake wakifight.
Yes, exactly.
See, kufight kuna kunile okay, the people who are quite careful with what I know of a friend, I won't mention him, but alisema there's only one time alisikia his parents have an argument only once in his entire life.
I think I'm also falling the same category.
In his entire life, because our parents when you watakuwa zile za like we're having an argument or a disagreement, to step out candles.
Between us,
it's not for the child.
But not just limit kwa like your home.
Or you listen to the neighbors fighting.
Yeah.
I think that, but PSU cannot only for very sheltered life.
Only wanaishi kwa 6 years kadhaa.
A very sheltered life.
Having that is really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Like those people don't take it for granted. Like having your parents wanajita kando wanasema let's talk about let's argue in a hotel, where you don't see them fighting. Don't take that for granted.
The intention was about not exposing. But something you said, you said you need like encouragement. Maybe I didn't express myself well. I was not encouraged at all. From when I started this journey, I've never received. In fact, I usually tell this story. My sister is watching. Just while I do put on blast. I remember the first time I asked for an instrument. I was bought a toy keyboard. More thing, and so I was like, okay, lemons. So I was practicing how to sing with it because no one taught me how to sing. And then my sister, who was in the next room, you can't sing to save your life. You're making noise for us. Some of us have jobs. Say comment up to your cousin. Some of us have jobs. We have to get up in the morning. You're unatuharibia usingizi. So you can't just stop singing. Just stop. Wachia up. You get it? So I received very little to no encouragement. They only started encouraging me below waliona. This is something that like I can survive off it, and I can survive to the point where I can send them something at the end of the month, And so I would say that, hey, nafika point naanza kufeel like toxicity maybe it's necessary, just to give us that extra push. But now it depends on vile una filter. Again, back to thinking more about intention, because you're right. When you look at our parents, mzae wangu alikuwa ananiambia story vile mzae wake alikuwa hadi anawapimia askari in that household. Yani toka next, you know, so nikaget kuelewa nyewe mzee ameishi maisha.
And actually ndo niongeze kitu kwa kile amesema. You see, in terms of encouragement, it also depends with the kind of surrounding and the kind of household that you grew up in. If you are well off, parent does not have that pressure to, like, actually ile ako force na mambo mingi. Unaona? Because already you're wealthy. But ile pressure haiko sana that much. But as compared to ule mtu mwenyewe, you're living in a slum somewhere, you don't have anything, you only have like 3 or 4 kids tuseme, and huyu ni first born na second born, alafu unaona hivi anasema mimi nataka kuwa mwanamuziki niache shule. Na wewe unajua vizuri hata kupeleka huyu mtu shule imekuwa ni struggle. Unaona?
Kweli.
Hata kumpeleka shule imekuwa ni struggle. So how would you explain to that child that niaje manze lazima usome? Unaona? How do you explain? Utamwambia with words of encouragement ile like umemjaribu kumwambia asikii. Yeye amesema nataka tu kuimba.
Before you support, there's something I want to correct you. Just because a child ametoka from a very wealthy family does not mean wametoka they are not coming from very toxic.
I was just saying like it's also quite relative because unajua kwa amesema you're the words of encouragement, see? Like how you explain something to your child, see? But mimi nikasema your surrounding also matters a lot to the things that your parent tells you. Kwa sababu yeye reality ya mzazi wako anakaa hivi anaona all my hopes and this family's hopes are on you.
Because apparently pia mimi nilikuwa golden child.
Unaona? Yeah, kwa zile za like all our hopes are on you. Hatuna namna ni wewe.
There's something I think Isaya alikuwa amesema much I can't trace, but you see when the responsibility of a child, or I think you'd say since we are growing into this space, we get into that space we become parents. And it's right for us to have this conversation so that we can also correct it within ourselves.
Yeah.
Because as a parent, it's your responsibility to see the gifts that your children, that your different children have.
Yeah.
And be able to nurture them differently. No? For example, wewe unaenda kupush maths kwa mtu hii. No.
Akina anakuletea tu.
Na usitaki kila siku aletangi. Unajua ikam.
Nikamwambia please.
Ikam.
Nisaidie tu. Nipatie 50.
Jamaa ameng'ang'ana KCSE imefika kwa bahati ya Mungu because ulimpatia pressure akapita. Uko like bas unafaa kwa bank.
Accountant.
Unafaa kwa accountant. Like bro, it's the responsibility of the parent to see that umse believe talent yake iko kwa pitch.
But sasa nikuulize Manu,
Hujasema sisome.
Hujasema sisome. Thank you. You don't want to kuuliza because your first sentence was like acha ni nai and because me I have a very clear example. All footballers on this earth, especially the well-established footballers, wamemaliza shule. They have degrees and diplomas. Because for one thing, all football academies wanakuwa na nini? Pass mark. Wanakuambia soma upitishe hii pass mark, usipopitisha hapa wewe pole.
Okay, tusiseme basi.
Listen, no, I had the privilege of studying in a school that really nurtured sports talents. And I remember some of the best athletes honestly walikuwa maduanzi.
But walikuwa nakiwa pass mark, like lazima walikuwa bare minimum.
But for you to get a sponsorship in a campus that wants to rip off your gifts in sports, then they'll tell you fikisha
to mahali.
Fikisha see then.
Just the bare minimum, just put in the effort piece in.
Now that is okay for you as a parent kuambia mtu hii sababu siwe fikisha hapa hivi. I know you're good at sport. Fikisha hapa hivi so you can also get your sponsorship to go abroad. But then wewe umejua msee is an athlete. No. Clearly he's an athlete. Unampusha ingia afanye engineering aanze kungana na kinasiji hapa hivi. So that the first year anaibika bro, you're killing this boy.
Bili kwa conversation na msee juzi na when we were arguing alikuwa aliniambia it's good to live in the make believe. It's good to think about what it should be, but pia it's good to acknowledge what is. And I feel like what is ni sidhani wazazi wana spend enough time na watoto wao.
That's a very good point.
So, take the time to understand
that's
so,
very
hiyo toxicity. But I feel it's not something that's about to change, especially with this coming world, because you know I've been
Just to support what you're saying, that's why
most people in our generation wanasema mimi sitaki mtoto. Mimi sitaki mtoto.
Jonah film to
atateseka.
Because you know you're also family.
You know,
so
you
now,
have to grind.
So it's a very fragile thing apparently that is because pia lazima utafute pesa. You can't just be at home because mtu atakula nini, you know. And then now of course there's the people who have single parents and it's not their child's fault. It's not even, you can't even blame the parents that kulikuwa na separation. You know, there's so many factors zenye zina go into a parent actually spending time with the child and understanding the child and knowing, hey, huyu wacha tufanye hivi. So and again it's weird, but I feel like toxicity kind of makes sense. I feel like iendele tu vile iko and then it were up to the children who kind of question the intention of the parent, because sometimes honestly it's not they're really doing their best.
But I think una confuse toxicity and tough love, which are two different things.
No. Okay, because from what I mentioned earlier, where I said toxicity is relative. Unaona, okay, acha nikupe examples zaka amepeana. There are two families, one is a very rich family, one is a very poor family. Huyu mtoi wa poor family vile atapushiwa na so much aggressiveness. Now unaweza argue that mtoi wa rich family atakuwa like, oh, yani his parents are there for him, wako so interested in seeing him succeed in nini, but ukiflip mtoi wa poor family anaweza na rich family ako like, mazee at least hao wako sawa, mzazi amempangia life huko mbele so ampati stress sana, unaget, so ni relative. But because of that, because everyone, I feel like hata before we started this podcast kuongea na mtu sasa akaniambia anataka mzazi wake aone hii podcast ndio change njia zake abadilike, you know, cause
come to save the soul.
Manze, because I feel pia an experience toxicity from the parents. So me na feel saa zingine ni kuangalia side hapa, because again like you said, we are going into that phase where tunaenda kwa wazazi. Na pia sisi, no matter how much we think we know, ikifika time we'll realize we don't know anything.
I agree with you 100%.
True. That's very true.
Yeah.
You see, when it comes to parents, like, okay, what made me believe is, let me lead by saying, even then it's their first time in this world, after hour,
Chance.
the first time, a bit less of a Chris kidogo. But you know, just there's some things that
Retract my statement.
There's some things that be like, I understand. Like, I understand there are parents who like you're going to work, your husband and stress.
You're going through a lot, so you
last born I'm suspended. You have like 5 kids, you have to understand each of them. Your husband attacking for anything. But there are some things that are not necessary. Like, let me tell you what I believe toxicity, especially, and what is in our parents, like our generation of parents, it mostly when it comes emotionally and mentally. Me, hata nilikuwa naambiwa wazazi heri umechape.
Ulikuwa unaongelesha.
There's some things you do, your parents says it breaks you and you carry it forever. They can't be mzazi na kuita stupid. You'll never make it in life. When the time my parents ever told me you'll never make it in life, let me tell you, like right now, I'm still carrying it like about an ibeba like
kuna mama atafambo hapa mbele.
Like unajua kama mzazi wako can't doesn't believe you brought me to this world. Akasema really. Ni hata tena.
Uko kuna mtu akitembea kwa ule mjinga yeye anapitanga roho mbele nyumba kile. Pumbavu tu anapitanga. That's how you look at me.
There's a statement my mom used to make. Kuna time nilipata physics 39.
Oh Lord.
Na nikasimamishwa hapo mbele ya academic day. Sema unataka kuwa nini? Nikasema engineer. Sema loudly.
Usikie.
Say it louder for the people at the back of the tent. Engineer. Sawa. Unataka kuwa engineer with a 39 physics. So nikifika home nilikuwa na watch TV. Akaniambia, hata wajinga wana watch TV.
Oi.
Because of a 39.
Out of pocket comments.
Because of a 39 na akazima TV.
So that was toxicity, and that was tough love.
That was toxicity.
That is toxicity.
It's not tough love.
That is not
Let
tough.
me tell you what tough love is. Tough love ni amekuja home na ambia Charlene, you're not going to be watching TV. I don't not care kama you're not going to see your friends.
Yeah.
So that you equal that's tough. But when you turn jinga, how is that?
But okay,
that's not even
okay. Let me ask you. After that incident, did it make you to read harder?
No, I just loved physics. Nile sikuwa nimesoma hiyo.
But just after you incident ulisoma na ukapass.
Nilikuwa napitanga physics.
But after you incident ulisoma na ukapass.
But there was a kind effect.
There was like an effect, right?
Let me ask me that.
I don't think it was. No, it actually hurt me. Mpaka sasa nakumbuka na ni kitu nili form 3.
Kitambo.
Yeah, it's something that hurt me.
It's
coming out.
So,
Yeah.
but when you think about it carefully, like being toxic, I think you should not confuse it with
Tough love.
tough love. Those are two very different things. Because when you do and say things that are so out of pocket, that you also have to realize as a parent you are an adult. Yeah, this child was so malleable from a very young age that whatever they take in become a sponge. They absorb as much as they can absorb, and that's
few parents understand that.
And the more words you keep on doing actions that is gonna put this person down, they affect this child by some.
Yeah.
But even when we're dating, we are the age where we're meeting people, dating them. Unasikia the way you're dating this person, or you realize this person is so traumatized, or is going through some shit that you can clearly tell is from their childhood.
Yeah. Ushahidi mtu mwenye maybe the parent akicall anapata some anxiety. Akona haki mama ananicall, haki mama ananicall. Nitafanya nini? Kila mtu nyamaza. Have you ever experienced something?
Sasa ni mtu wako that.
Yeah.
DJ zima tamasha au
nyamaza. Yeah.
tamasha nyamaza.
Mwenye anaongea pati nini? Nyamaza. You've experienced something like that. So, Sidani, this is someone who fears the parent. They just have experienced some toxic relationship with the parent, such that imemtaint kabisa. I've experienced situations where unapata my friends wanapigiwa like wamezoea wao wanajuanga dada kicall everything is stop. I have to pick this call. I have to say niko library. Ninatoka in the next 40 minutes and best
Sasa yako wapi?
Niko na boti hapo. Niko na boti hapo hata unasikia tu akiongea. Akona very sluggish voice, but just because mzazi nyumbani. Okay, sijui kama ni fear.
But you know it could be either fear, unapata mzazi ni military, ama just respect ni ile golden child, yani kama vile when you first born.
Okay,
now,
so respect?
Not necessarily. Could be, but not necessarily.
Because I don't think most of us will be comfortable with getting drunk near our parents.
Well, it
That's
depends on how old you are.
That's relative.
It depends on the kind of parents you are.
How old you are.
Yeah, because look, my parents gave me my first drinks.
Same.
Internet that
I think it should be like that.
Yeah, they gave me my first.
But actually, on that note here, how many of us have experienced this thing here, whereby like in your teenage years, how uliwani sana na your parent, hamuko on the same page, your campus years kidogo first year, but around third year, fourth year, after you finish campus, then unarudi mnakuwa beshte mbaya.
I feel like your period
Yeah,
teenage ni adolescence.
That makes
But
sense.
that we've all experienced that. Like, and you know why that happens?
Yeah.
Because we have all grown up and actually understood that.
Now we are adults.
Umseki alikuwa ananiambia
It makes sense. But do you
kuna vitu
know?
zingine zina make sense. Alikuwa wrong hapa na hapa.
Have you met late bloomers? Even during their adolescence, they were like
Wako too slow.
wako line to you can't tell the difference between when they were young and when they're teenagers because their character or behavior does not change. But then it's now hit pale mbele sele yako campus. It's as if the adolescence yake ikiwa imetulia kwanza rebellion imetulia iko like now is the time to show up. And at that time ako way beyond a parent's reach of discipline or something like that.
I've seen this with men sana.
Exactly.
Sio pesa, unajua men ni pesa. Labda tu wako na pesa.
See, when you're a teenager unafahamu.
Ya men ndio sasa mara mingi bidhaa ya men ni pesa.
Rebellion ya men.
Ya like venye CJ anasema. Unajua like most of the time kenye men CJ anasema for men unaweza kuwa unataka kwenda mahali, you have fun, you know, living the large life, but you can't afford it. Okay. And then you get a good job na nini, then you find someone hapo ndo sasa amelipuka. And then that's also relative. Ndio maana mimi naweza sema kuna hii question inaulizwanga. Sorry to use this, but I'm just going to put it as little as possible. Are you a virgin by choice or by chance? No. The people who are virgins by chance, but the people who are virgins by choice. There's someone who has a good character by choice. Sasa ni kama haezi vuta bangi, haezi fanya nini. But there's someone who has a very bad character by no. Yeah. So in all these situations, lazima uangalie pia surrounding.
So then it goes down to the individual, because now I feel like toxicity is not going to go away, you know, because even this forum, there's no, I don't know if I wish we would have had a parent here like Isaya tumuulizeni maswali, but yeah, but I still feel we would not see eye to eye. Yes, kila mtu angeelewa. I feel tungeona eye to eye at the end of that conversation, so that go down to us and our children, and understanding that as a parent, maze lazima do the best you can. Now because napenda kile ulisema, you know, as a parent, there are things you have to understand about this child. Unapokuelewa mtu yeye anakuona kama this is how a human being should be, because tutabia mbaya wetu ni wazazi wametufunza, you know. And consciously,
that is the realest real I've ever read.
And then now they see themselves in you, wanashtuka, wanasema hapana, don't be like that, don't be, you know.
Ati mbona mtoto amekuja amelewa?
Naona leo maji Tuesday.
Mbona nikiingia kwa ngoma kani nimelewa?
Ni mimi tu nilifungulia gate nikakuingizia gari.
Exactly.
But sasa mimi kuna swali, kama wewe you are a serial liar, would you want your child to be a serial liar?
I think it's genetic.
But would you want it? But would you want your child to be like that?
Sasa utamfanyia nini na
but sasa tunakataza, right?
Jinsi ni zako.
I feel like it's the space you give.
Yeah.
If you give your child a safe space, atakuwa na desire kudanganya.
True.
Like me right now, I'm so comfortable if I call my mom and tell her, "Hey, mom, you go club." She'll be like, "Fine." I'm not lying to her. If I'm in the club, I tell her I'm in the club.
Yeah.
Because she's given that space.
Meanwhile, kuna wengine tukipigia tunakimbia nje ya tamasha mbio kabisa.
Kuna kile.
Mbona unahema?
Nilikuwa nafanya stress.
Nightmare.
Unajua unipigie kama nimelala nimestuka. It's actually the space you give your child. Na mbona nasikia cricket? Nimefunga dirisha.
The TV. You're right, it's the environment. Yeah. So that's for the parents and for the kids. Because you know, because napenda hiyo kitu umesema about choice. Na feel, because I genuinely do believe nili make choice ya kuona. Because the things I was told were very harsh. They didn't come in, there was no love in the words I was, you know, hakukuwa na love anywhere there. Like, but after I sat down with myself, because even when, just finish the story, nilienda Nairobi, but ilibidi nitafute fare, ilibidi nitafute pale nitalala, ilibidi from the time, because they told me, if you go, we will not support you, we will not send you money, we will not, you go, we'll figure it out, then you see whether there's a future there. Okay. So I feel like on our side pia lazima tuweze kufilter kenye na because mimi nakumbuka one of the gigs zenye ningeenda but sikuenda juu ya mzazi aliniambia, so ukienda nani atakushughulikia? Mimi sikusupport, ushajua hiyo, nisha make it clear. So ukienda nani atakusupport? Wanakulipa, wanakupea fare, is it enough to go and come back and eat and sleep? Is it enough? Nikaona yenyewe hapo wenyewe kuna bila mnipigia hesabu mbaya.
So in all this, what do you feel you'll do different to avoid being a toxic parent?
Tuanze na Zak.
Yeah. Wewe ametukemea hapa. Our parents.
Huenda huyu ndo naona akiolewa mbele.
Itakuwa akitushikishia hisia.
Kwa hiyo please.
Na vile they are very, I've seen your
what
lineup.
Ungeuza kamera angalia au
Yes. Zaki na mwaleta si hata kwa juu.
Wewe sasa mtaka kusema watu wengine
invite. Hatujasema hivyo.
Nani amesema
Okay, tunasema
ni
ni
words in our mouth.
we see a future for you.
a sooner future.
A very
Kuna nyota.
soon, all of us.
Kuna
Kuna
Sasa
nyota.
gani kuna mimi Mungu na mwaga amenibariki.
Nika-
You are a very serious man.
Nyota ya ndoa.
Zakaria the rich man
Wewe,
the tax collector. Niita watu hapo. Wakuje kwanza waseme nje ndio mmenigeuzie.
Uta break the potential. Wachana na uta break the potential wako wengi. So Zaka anza.
What I will do to avoid being a toxic parent?
What would you do different as a parent?
What I will do differently? For me, and I will put this into perspective as how I have a friend who unaona wale watu babesha unakuwa nao high school and then unapata mtoi mapema. Like you are in form 4 and then unasikia msee udema kuna ball. No. And right now I'm in the campus and I do job, but obviously mtoi wake ashakuwa mkubwa sana. No. So how he has raised his kids, because yeye alikuwa na hiyo dynamic, alikuwa na shindwa like how do I handle this? But of all the parents that I've seen out there, they big up to him. I think he's one person that I really look up to as to how he has managed to make all that. Babake, after mmaliza high school, yeah? Unaimagine mmaliza square form 4, yenye mnafanya exam, yo KCPE. Dema naza, KCSE. Dema naza yode.
Pull up. Mtoto ni wanani?
Mtoto ni huyo boy, beshte yangu, but demi yake mwenye sasa akona mimba yake, like she was giving birth on that particular day for exam, the day of exam.
So he wouldn't do that.
So that girl couldn't take exams. This guy is torn between like, do I go and see like what's happening there? Ama do I?
Focus on my
Unaona? Sasa hiyo at home mambo imechemka hivi. Unaona? You are not reading, you're only focusing on women. Unaona? You're just using your degree rather than your pencils. So, but then that's what he was told. That's what he was told. So it was like a huge ordeal. And after that, he really struggled with it. Akamaliza exam. Immediately, anamaliza KCSE the next day. He actually looked for a job, a mjengo job. Right next to the school. He was like, I know I'm not going to get like a lot from my parents, I'm not going to expect a lot. Like, but this, I already have this situation. No. And it's not like this guy was like rich or poor, he was middle class. No. The parent would have supported, but the parent decided not to support, right? So at that particular point, the guy really put in the shift, really worked hard, nini, to a point that like Isaya has said, the parent got to a point that I'm going to support you. After now supporting you, what do you want to do? The guy said, I want to be a graphic designer. But see, results have already come out, but by then, guy has straight A's. Shock of his life. But graphic designer, and you have straight A's, you can qualify to go and do medicine.
You know, funny enough, I know people who deliberately fumble exams because hawataki hiyo pressure ya unajua unapata straight A's na kuwa daktari.
Yeah.
Inakuwa lawyer. Inakuwa is because unajua once you get those grades. I think we're discussing this with Isaya. You become qualified and you don't want to be qualified. You want to do your own thing.
You want to do your own thing. Yeah. So for him, he had to make a tough decision. Na akaambia the parent like, you know, like I am in this life alone. Yeah? You are my parent, and I was there when he was telling the parent like, I am in this life alone. You have raised me till this point, and I understand the limitations of what you can do and what you cannot do. This is what I love to do, but I understand pia with this one, I might have that challenge ya nini, making money and supporting my child. Sindio? So let's do this. Let's meet halfway. Let me do my graphic design. Yenye mimi napenda, but I'll still pursue what you want. Unaona? Like I don't know how the future will pan out, but let me try out both ways. Sindio? If itajipa. You don't know tomorrow. So he decided to actually do both. He's doing graphic design on the side, but he's also doing medicine. Graduated well, kila kitu. When he was in campus, he was actually doing graphic design and actually building his company. Right now he's filled with the guys driving on the Benz. He did not go the other way. And but yes, unaona venye ana raise mtoto wake. Mtoto wake is a really good inaitwagaje tennis. Mtoto wake anacheza tennis. Na mtoto wake anasemaga yani yeye hampatiagi pressure ya to do anything else. Anamwambiaga, what do you want to do? I want to go to the tennis court. But the conversation that he has with his daughter, I mean, have you finished your homework? Without this homework, you will not get to even understand the contract that you're going to be given.
I relate to dream yake.
Unaona? So mimi, I would love to relate everything, my fears and my insecurities. Unaona? Because there are some things in the mimi jaribu nikaona, like at some point I did music. Haiko turn out. Mimi dream yangu ya music haiko kuja kama.
Wana trade unaona sawa.
Niliona picha nikashangaa.
Wana dreadlocks.
So mimi yangu haiko materialize. Unaona, si kila mtu akona the same path. Ya Isaya ili materialize. He is earning from music. Me, I tried it did not work out. Unaona? So my insecurities and my failures, unaona, they have taught me so much. So I would want my child to be and learn from them. Na as you never put your eggs in one basket. Yeah. So mimi mtoto wangu ngamwambia ni aje ni sawa. You want to be Cristiano, but manze piga kitabu. There is no way you're going to understand like a 10 million contract if you're not smart. You have to be smart. There is street smart and there is book smart, but me, I appreciate someone who has a balance of both. Yeah. So mimi, what I would say, I'll just try and explain to my kid, find balance.
Head thorax na abdomen ilikusaidia aje kwenye maisha? Chemistry.
Above the head.
Six tunatumia chemistry.
Nutrition. Huyo aklapiwe kwanza. Ikazi ya teacher.
Amesema nini?
Exactly, umesema point zote. Yeah. But I agree with Zach largely. I feel like it's important. Because you're right. If our fears and hizo vitu tumelearn, ni poa pia watu wetu wakijua, wakiget kuelewa where we are coming from. And I really like your approach ya kuattach hizo vitu zote, hizo projections unaziattach na whatever they want to become, to make them see that kuna importance na kile na try kukushu. So I agree, but I also would add that we should be very intentional with the homes that we are raising our children. Like ukue na tusiogope kuwa na watoto. Nasema hivi na mimi nimeogopa. But tusiogope kuwa na watoto because na feel sio postpone tukifikiria itafika saa fulani alafu nitakuwa na mtu waiter ama nitawaude mama propose no
kama nitakuwa ready hiyo time. Nitakuwa ready nikiwa 40.
You can never be ready, but you can be intentional about raising a kid in a home that inajua love na inajua God, for those who believe in God.
Hapo kwanza kwa kujua God.
Pigeni makofi. It's very very important so that at least mtoi akwe na a moral standing. I'm not saying you force it down their throats, but just live venye tu ulisema, like if you're arguing with your wife or your husband, jieke kando muage, let them not see that side of you, understanding that nyindo watu wenye wanajua this is how I'm supposed to be. So kimu expose kwa tabia mbaya zako usishtuke, that's you, you know. So yeah, that's what I think.
I think maybe why for never to be a parent. Kwa parent, like for the you as a child, a child apewe passport ya maisha, uende ku apply. So unajipata tu I'm here. I think if I was to be a parent, what I would change is I want to be present in my child's life, and not only physically and not financially. I don't know if parents feel like I'm paying school fees and I'm there, that's it. Mentally, emotionally, like you don't know what your child is going through. Like what I usually say, and this is purely my opinion, before I am your daughter, I am Stephanie. I am
A person.
I am a person. Yeah. So life in itself is already hard for me as your daughter. And it's not fair as a parent, you come and wanna project everything that's going on to me. I should only be seeing, like, it's not nice, but I should only be seeing the good side of you. That's not how it's supposed to be, but that's how you should try at least. I should not be seeing when a daddy mkapo chini mnapigana, I can hear everything from the bedroom. Nah. No. But as a parent,
Just go home. Manager kuzo.
But you're never ready. So I'll never know how my child will be. Labda nimetoka hapa nimeandika hapa. Niko na blueprint mtoto wangu atoke something else. But I just feel like for a parent, if you're going to be a parent, just be emotionally, mentally. Me, I dealt with depression for a long time. And my parent hakuwa naelewa. Like, napata panic attack ako, tukopeleke Chilongo.
Mambo ya wazungu.
Ama ni maombi. Amerogwa.
Tuite Pastor Gani. Akuja kuombe.
And that's why maybe me, I'm just dealing with everything.
Maybe the world is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Hata hiyo kuamka asubuhi ni too much.
No man nasemanga, you see, like the way you're saying that you can filter some things, but there's some people who can't. No, the kind of child I couldn't. Like my mom angeniambia I'm stupid. That's it. My world has come crashing down. Everything around me stopped. Like after I feel like I couldn't breathe. Like this woman told me I'm stupid. What do you mean? How? Like even if my child told me I'm stupid, but like what does the teacher know?
Yeah.
But my mom.
Yeah.
Like you actually chose to bring me into this world. And then once again you're saying I'm stupid. As a parent, please just be present, be aware. Listen to your children. Try to create a relationship. It's not textbook.
Yeah.
Everything is different outside here. The way Isaya will raise his child, saying like I will raise my child. Yeah. So we end up kwambe ulifanyaje mtoto wako? As a engineer.
Alafu inataka zao.
Wangu atakuwa tattoo artist.
Sumongelesha.
Alina Bible.
Hi. Next week Bible come.
Wende. Well, that's not the case, you know. But I think that's what I would change.
I strongly agree, and on that note, you can comment down below that the formal education system has failed us. Because we spend most of our time with our teachers, strangers.
Hata tufunge. Tumalizie hapa.
Yes, imagine.
Ngojeni bado. Usifanye manu atukose kuongea bana. Mtaka kufunga.
Wacha niongee.
Wacha niongee.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what I'll do differently as a parent, or what I hope to do differently, because sometimes I think I also have the fear that what if, because I'm a product of my parents, what if I'm also the same? Msikia mtu mweka na mtu anakwambia, na wewe ni kama babako. Like wapi?
That's scary.
But I think what I'll do different is first of all realize that this is an individual. That's the first thing I'll do. Number two is try to listen, because I believe that every child has a gift inside them.
Yeah.
And it's my responsibility as a parent to nurture that out of that child, because you don't know what gift, what God gave you to raise. When I go and raise, maybe raising the next Kanye West man, let me say, pushing engineering. That guy is a musical genius. I might be having a child who's so gifted at social work or something. This person just always just trying to help people. Might not be in the industry or line that I want them to grow in. But once I realize or see this gift in this child, I hope that I can be able to nurture it 100%. And I think parts or one way to go about this is always understanding that I'll be of a different generation for my child, and what they're going to have will be constantly newer than what I can understand. So it's very important, just supporting, as Stephanie's point, always be present and listen and get to know what these people are doing. I was looking at Chiomio's mom. Like Chio alianza kuimba akiwa high school. He started doing his music. It was during COVID when he started hating her. And then I was like, you know what, you're going to go through school, yes, but I'm going to manage you. I'm going to nurture that dream of yours. But I'm going to guide you through it. Skuma. Yeah, I mean skuma, because if you see what Chio is at the moment, you're like, I can see the mom's working, the mom's hand in this boy's life or something like that.
From that note, yeah, I know we've talked about this, but that ndio chetu nyuma. Kuna kitu tumekumbuka aki nisamehe. Kuna some cases like Project Mappy. You're a parent, you are like 1 year old. Mimi sijui talent yako ni gani, lakini chukua hiyo mpira piga. And it still ends up the right way.
Kumbuka sio rahisi.
Kuna Project Mappy, kuna project like
kuna some very on that point people are very different. I
Yeah.
think we're also discussing this with Isaya. You find a child that knows what they want from the get-go. Just a moment, I'm getting to the point. What's an okay? You see a child that knows what they want from the get-go. Meanwhile, there's another child that really has no clue and needs some guidance. You find these are people who will easily fall into unemployment category. Bora tu unapatia kazi yako ni computer, fanya computer tu pesa.
Wewe uko Taptengele lakini unafanyia kazi kampuni iko Marekani na unafinya kompyuta, unaenda nyumbani na unapata dola.
And that's what they do it perfectly well. Mimi ndio mwingine tuambia fanya computer tu pesa. Anafanya mara mbili kitu kingi. Unaona? So as a parent it's your responsibility to be able to see this and be like, okay, wewe unaweza kwa project Mbappe, wewe mwingine umekuja na sahani yako tayari.
Because unajua Mbappe, sidhani Mbappe angefika pale amefika
without babake.
Without kuwa that key.
Na Mbappe alianza kama like ako 2 years old. Sasa babake alijuaje hii talent ya huyo?
Same back to
I think by constant observation cause kama haingekuwa nyota yake na feeling ingeonekana. Sidhani angefika pale amefika bila cause anakanikana enjoy kile anadu. I don't know his life, I don't know him personally yet.
For example, ukiona mtu mdogo kila time ukimtoinje, this guy ameanza kujifunza kutembea lakini akiona tu bora jamaa anapiga tu na hiyo mguu zake ndogo ndogo anapiga. Kwa sababu basi wacha nitafutie ball kadogo kiasi ukipiga itasonga mbali kidogo. And the more unacheki ana grow into this talent is becoming much better at it every day. Okay, so let me put some work into this and see where it goes.
But you see there is work from the parent side.
Yes.
Like see okay, I don't know again his life, but Daniel aliwekwa tu na huko academy akaambia haya sasa umejua kupiga mpira enda sasa upige tu mpira.
And that means the parent is actively present in this child.
Actually, because I want to games Haaland. Haaland, the father is always there.
Yes, it's Isaya coming.
Tumeingia mambo ya mpira.
Si tumeshangaa haya maza hapo. Malizi.
Haaland winner.
Haaland ni nani?
What is that? What is a Haaland?
What is that Haaland?
Holland?
That's the new MacBook.
but also I think I also give myself the grace to understand that I'm also human. And when I make those mistakes, I want to correct them at that time. I realized that I wasn't present for this child, or I reacted emotionally where I shouldn't have, or violently where I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
There's this thing that you say when you say corporal punishment should remain in a fuck up with me. I don't agree with that because I think that children are smart, and if you're able to accurately communicate this something to your child watasikia, unless au wenyewe ni wakorofi tu na hiyo korofi imetoka kwa mzazi.
Ukorofi huo.
It's just a part of their characters in it.
Well, anyway, so I think we have said everything. I'll just add on your kitu ya you give yourself grace. Ushai, who is a cat parent here? Okay, not them. Paka zinafunza character development.
Because cats are selfish.
Unaita paka ina walk away. Unaita ina walk away. I think that's something inakuonyesha that you should also learn to ujipe your grace. Also, before tukue parents, let's just go to therapy. Sisi wote tushikane mikono tuende therapy. Let's just go to therapy. Yeah, we deal with our huge trauma. As much as it was handed down to us, we should just deal with it. And we really hope for the best. Pray to God to guide in all this. Yeah, and with all that, that's a wrap. Thank you guys. Please listen to Jonny's EP.
Whatever upcoming.
Yes, and the upcoming Aki. If you want good quality Kenyan music.
From Eldoret.
Hata from Eldoret, from Kenya.
Kenya.
Listen to his music.
Mimi ndo nilimwandikia.
Hizo ni jaba hizo.
Mimi ndo
Na
nilimwandikia.
wache kuvuta glue.
Nita contract.
Hey,
That's you're done.
And also come to our gigs.
yeah. A big thank you to Big Africa Studios, Tanaki Industries, and Kerry Lenses. Goodbye. See you next time. Have a good night.
Go home, folks.